Hello, friends. Welcome to the Ancient Health Podcast, where East meets West. I'm your host, Dr. Chris Motley, and thank you for allowing me to be part of your health journey. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and that you hit the bell so that you never miss an episode. And in this episode, I wanted to discuss sound. How can sound affect your body? Can sound affect your body in a positive way? Yes. And can it affect it in a negative way? Yes. Are there aspects of sound that could be trapped in your body to create negative health effects? We want to discuss this mechanism, and then we're going to talk about sound therapy. Can sound therapy be used to help with chronic pain, stress relief, mood enhancement? And in my opinion, yes. There is so many aspects of the body because the body is made up of energetic components. There's a lot of vibrations that are coming off the body, and now there are capabilities out there that allow us to measure those vibrations and those sounds that come off the body. And now, since we're understanding more that we have an energetic body, the vibrations, the tones, the sounds, the wavelengths of light have all been shown to affect the body in certain ways. So let's discuss this aspect of therapy, how sound can help your body. And I want to tell you a few different studies that could allow you to find a sound therapy mechanism or therapy, treatment aspect to help you through your daily life. Yes, literally using sound to help the body heal. So first of all, I want to discuss how the body can perceive sound. And let's say that when you are young, your body perceived certain sounds in a negative way. How? Real simply, your body records many or all events through the senses. Through your taste, through your smell, through your sight, through your sound, and through your touch. So when we perceive sensations in our body records them in the subconscious mind so that we create an automatic program to respond to that stimulus, to that sensation, so that we get accustomed to it. For instance, if we smell lasagna being made by our mother, by our grandmother, we are training our sensation centers in our brain to realize that there is lasagna and it needs to be eaten. And that creates pleasure in the brain. There's a pleasurable memory. So anytime you literally smell lasagna, your brain will go back to the time where you remember those first initial times when you ever smelled lasagna. That's how powerful your brain and my brain is. We literally, at the first moment we encountered a sensation that was so stimulating to us, we put that into our subconscious mind. So then we don't have to retrain our brains to know that lasagna is delicious. Our subconscious mind has been trained from that very first moment. And then we ate that lasagna. And then the next time we smelled it again, we remember the first time we smelled it. And we just keep repeating this pattern over and over again so that it becomes a subconscious program. So there's no guessing whenever I see a picture of lasagna. If I smell anything that resembles lasagna, I'll love it. I went down the smell route. But I want to talk about the sound route. So if you ever experienced, let's say, a negative traumatic event when you were young, let's say you heard your parents yelling and screaming when you were younger. Many of us have experienced life where we remember when our parents got into arguments. And I believe many of you out there are probably the middleman or the peacemakers. Or you just didn't want to have any drama in life, but you remember when your parents were yelling. In fact, your body and your brain is so brilliant that you remember the actual frequency range of the actual argument, of the yelling. You know how loud it was. You know how soft it was. You know the harshness of the voice, the anger in the voice, the timbre, as they would call it in music. You even know the actual notes, because your brain, if it heard the argument over and over again, now records it into your subconscious, and those specific notes and frequency ranges, the sound of the argument, is now associated with anger and frustration and fighting, so that your body had to train itself how to respond. And whenever you hear that sound, your body was trained to say that this is an unpleasant event. If you're the peacemaker, you're probably going to be initiated to go and try to resolve it. If you're a person who doesn't like conflict, you may initiate the centers of your brain to walk away and to hide. If you're a very aggressive person, you may try to join into the fight. All in all, the sound of the argument triggered the body to go into a fight or flight reaction. Let's say that one more time. Into a fight or flight reaction. Now, what happens if you're watching a TV show and you and I hear the same type of argument with the same type of notes and the same type of frequency ranges? What if somebody on camera had the same yell as your dad? What if they had the same scream or tint to their voice as your mother? So, if that's the case, your body will be triggered to look back at the first memory. If that event happened, that traumatic event happened to you when you're young over and over and over again, you created neurons, neuronal pathways in the brain, and that sets stone in your brain. Now, what that does is that your body, if it perceived it as a negative event or something that's painful, will create pain chemicals. It will create chemicals to help you run from a situation. Now, you may run from a situation now when you hear the same sound. So you see how our bodies, how God created our bodies to be in such a recording mechanism. And we have this mechanical aspect of our bodies that allow us to perceive so much information and record it that we're never caught off guard. So this sound helps you recreate a program that helps you fight against that argument sound. Does that make sense? I want this to reiterate this to you because all of you out there know that there are times when maybe the sound of your coworkers or your boss or your spouse may not be the best sound to you on particular days. Why? Why does it rub you the wrong way? Because it must have initiated a program, an automatic response that you've had in the past. This, when it creates those pain chemicals, can make your body react in a rapid heartbeat, in sweating, in feeling anger, in feeling depression. It can make you feel like you have to run. It can make you feel like you have to hide. It could actually make you feel like you have to be cynical. These are all defense mechanisms. And for many of us, it probably works really well. It probably helps us to fight another battle so that we don't feel lost. If that's you and I want you to know that you can use sound in a positive way. Many of us want to forget the sounds of an argument. Many of us want to forget the sound of a boss's voice that just got on our last nerve. You and I know that sound. You may have had somebody in your class back in the day when you heard their voice or their laugh and it just annoyed the ever-living life out of you. And I know you guys are all smiling right now when you're listening or watching to this, because you can, in your head right now, raise your hand, not while you're driving, but you know as well as I do that there is a sound from somebody's voice that just annoys you, and you go, why? It makes the hair stand on end on my body. Like, goodness gracious, why does this person's voice do this to me? Better yet, why does this music upset me? Why does this song upset me? Because there's something in there that inherently your body was trying to fight or run from. There's even studies that say that the sounds that your ancestors experienced generations past, it initiated a chemical response for them to run or to fight a problem. Those get locked into the DNA and get passed to you, and you can respond to the same sounds. You see it in nature. You see it how animals, when they hear like the sound of a predator, even little baby animals, they'll perk up or they'll lie down and they'll hide without even ever experienced the predator in the past. A newborn. Why? We have such an amazing body. Now, we all have that thought about somebody who's irritated us or upset us. And is there ever a time now that you can think of a song that was so healing to your body? Can you and I right now, I want you guys think about a sound or a song that when you turned it on, you just feel that, this just brings peace to my heart. Now, I know there's songs and I know there's music that makes us get pumped up, ready to do our exercise, makes us to be able to run a marathon or, cook a great meal. I get that. But what are those sounds that help you just relax and feel at peace in your heart? Maybe you never experienced it. But if you can think of a time in your life or a situation or a concert or something where a particular song was sung and you heard it and it felt peaceful, I want you to realize that that created peace chemicals within you. It created the proper stimulation to proper areas of the brain that just increased your parasympathetic, your relaxation centers. Now, there are studies that are now verifying that sound therapy can heal the body. Literally, the vibrations of sound can actually stimulate the body's touch fibers. And these touch fibers can help with pain perception. So there are studies now that the low frequency sound stimulation has helped people with fibromyalgia. I know it's just a diagnosis of symptoms, but it's actually been shown through the studies we can attach to the show notes where certain sound therapy has actually reduced those fibromyalgia symptoms. It's also helped with better sleep and actually with less pain. So we're starting to see that the touch receptors in our skin respond to sound. That's why when you hear that beautiful music that you love and it makes you relax, you feel less painful. The touch fibers are going into a relaxation frequencies. So you're starting to see that these things have been utilized or had a similar experience within older traditions, such as the Himalayan song bowls. And you also see it like in Tibetan song bowls. Now, I understand because some individuals out there, they'll think that sound bowls or singing bowls are a little esoteric. They may be a little unusual or unorthodox. Some have stated they feel that they are too new age. And I think I'm really open to discussion with those individuals, and not in an argumentative way. I just like to hear everybody's perspective. One of the things that I think is very interesting for all of us out there, that when we're talking about a sound bowl, what it is that there are these huge bowls that if you run the rim of the bowl with this small, they have basically a small like rod cylinder device that they actually basically rub the top of the bowl, the edge. You ever seen on Christmas time where they'll take their hand and they'll run it around the lip of a glass, like a wine glass, and you start to hear the sound coming off of the glass after you rub the rim, the lip of the rim? Well, and you put water into the glass and you can make different sounds just by rubbing the edge or the lip of the glass. Now, they do the same thing with these very large bowls. Some bowls are very, very big. Some are very small. But what they say is the actual dimensions of the bowl. The dimensions, guys, the size, the shape, the depth of the bowl creates frequencies that are bouncing off the insides of the bowl. So you can create A notes, C notes, B notes, B flat. You could create different types of notes within those bowls. Now, when we're talking about sound therapy, there are certain notes that could help your body go into delta waves, theta waves, beta waves, those waves in your brain that actually can help you sleep, to help you feel less pain, to help you with your appetite, that actually help with reducing allergies. There are different types of notes that allow your body to do that. So they're finding that these singing bowls, if they rub the rim of the bowl, can actually create these frequencies. And what they're saying is happening is that certain glands within the brain, like the pineal or the pituitary, the pine cone, actually has a resonance that it loves to attach to. It literally, like a C theta note, and there's many others. There's so much more, much more information out there. But when your pineal gland encounters one of these C note derivatives, it actually stimulates the growth, the attention, the vibration of the actual pineal gland. And the pineal gland will actually release hormones that then stimulate the pituitary gland. So you're seeing that this pineal gland right in the middle of your brain, which helps you with moderation of light versus dark. It helps you with waking and sleeping. And this pineal gland, they say almost controls the pituitary. So you're looking at hormonal health. But what it's doing is the pineal gland is said to have the ability, as it grows, through research, it says that most individuals who have larger pineal glands have more attenuation, more basically radio frequency attention to other frequencies. This is what they say. So if you guys have more comments, please send them to me. I'm not taking one side or the other. I'm just wanting to discuss this with you. But that the pineal gland is so attuned to external frequencies that it can pick up on frequencies and sounds of the external environment. One of the frequencies that it says to help when you're in higher pineal gland frequencies is to do what? Is to listen to prayers. That your connection with divine, with God, is very attuned. That the pineal gland is large and it can actually receive information from God, depending, like, I guess, on your religion or your faith, that your prayers are heard. And that you can be very sensitive to information that God is giving you. So the right type of stimulation to the pineal and pituitary gland is going to allow you to do what? To receive more information from the higher source, because that gland is said to be able to be attuned to the higher energies, the higher frequencies. That's what they say. That's why many times in many religious and spiritual practices, you'll see the pine cone, the pineal gland. So when you use a sound bowl or use something to stimulate the notes that would stimulate the pineal gland, you're getting yourself into an ohm frequency, they say, like an OHM frequency. And the ohm frequency is to do what? Is to get you into a very relaxed state where you actually start to go into a surrender state. This is where some individuals say they get more information from God, from a higher source. There's some that could argue that they think that that's too open for the mind. And you want to be careful that you don't receive information from a not so positive force. Now, these are discussions now that I like to have, but I want you to know that if you have the right healing frequencies, if you have the right healing sounds, if you have the right healing music, if you have the positive healing music that's there to uplift you, and those sound bowls that uplift you, where you feel a peace that comes over your heart, a warmth, if you feel that according to your faith, that you feel like you have a closer connection to God, that can actually stimulate your ability, they say, to be more in tune with higher source. That's why some individuals, when they go to any type of spiritual meeting, they go to church, they may feel that when they get into the right mood, they hear the music, it gets them stimulated because they feel that it uplifts their heart and their soul, and they feel like they're connected to God. I think this is very, very interesting. I think that is such an amazing feat of the body, to where our internal portions of our brain can be so sensitive to sound that it can actually create a connection, a better connection to the higher source, to God. There's probably much more explanations to it and much more controversy probably with many people out there, and I understand that. But just the mechanism that I've seen in research, and I've seen in the office how it's affected people, is truly amazing to me. There are like different types of sound therapy. Like I'll use like a tuning fork, and I use that on different areas of the body, because you can use a tuning fork on certain acupuncture points. And what happens is, if you hit that tuning fork, and this note of this tuning fork is needed within an acupuncture point to help release it, to open it up, you'll see amazing results by using a tuning fork. If you're out there listening, I have a tuning fork right here. I have them here at the office, because they can help heal acupuncture points. So people use tuning fork therapy, which is they're using certain frequencies of the tuning fork to actually help basically heal the biofield around the body. But there are many individuals who know and say that they can use a tuning fork, and when they hit the tuning fork and just put it right around the head, around the brain, and it's been shown through research. I have some great books on it. I've seen it work with my patients, where they put it around certain areas of the body, that it actually helps do what? Attenuate. And that means this: it basically helps heal the biofield. You're using music from a tuning fork. People think it's unusual. It's like, no, it's a note. It's just like if you listen to music and you felt that it healed your heart. You're using a specific note to fill the gaps of your biofield. What this means is there could be injury to a certain area of your body. Let's say you had a headache that's chronic, okay? Follow me along with this. If you had a headache chronically, and that headache was creating a glitch in your biofield, which means maybe that part of the biofield had distortions in it, because they say the biofield is emanating off the body with a certain type of frequency, which means healthy waves coming off the body. But in a certain area, there's an unhealthy wave. You guys follow me? And they'll take a tuning fork and hit the tuning fork. And what they're trying to do is use a healthy waveform from that tuning fork, a healthy frequency. And that healthy frequency from the tuning fork is trying to catch the unhealthy waves from your body, and you're trying to tune it into the healthy frequencies of the tuning fork. You're trying to change those unhealthy waves, so that if you put enough of that tuning fork around that area, the unhealthy waves are going to try to raise their frequency, the height of their waves, to match the frequency of the tuning fork. It's going to try to measure or try to reach the higher frequencies and try to reach the higher vibe. That's what the body does. If you put a sound wave that's around the body, a frequency that's really positive or very high, and you keep doing it around the body, your body will try to match those waves. That's why it's very important that you're around positive people. If you're not, Around negative people, your waveform will start to match them. And your biofield will start to suffer. The biofield is measurable. It has been seen. It's coming off the body. Now, if you use a tuning fork to help heal the body, it's one way you can use sound therapy. Can prayer? Yes. Totally. Prayer can heal the body through sound therapy by saying words to your creator. Yes. Can sound therapy, like tuning forks, help your body heal the biofield a bit so it makes you even have a better connection to your higher source? I believe so, yes. So check out tuning fork therapy. Now, I always want you to say that you need to make sure that the practitioner that has tuning fork therapy experience matches your belief systems according to you, and you feel comfortable around them. Because many people say when they go into like a tuning fork therapy session, they'll think, oh man, that's just too different, too unorthodox, too new age. I've seen tuning fork therapists who are the most analytical people on the planet, the most mechanical, but they understand the mechanics of sound. If you're a musician, if you're somebody who deals with sound, you know that there's a technicality and a science behind tuning forks, and that tones, frequencies can match each other. And if you're around the right people, if you're saying the right prayers, you're going to raise your frequency and vibration. You're going to match the frequency of the people around you. That's why it's important, again, to be around the positive people. So tuning fork therapy is one of the most interesting and one of the most healing in my perspective. I've had that therapy done by really great practitioners, and I've seen it done wonders for my shoulder, even for my lymph flow. I feel the effect of this the most. I'm serious about of all therapies is sound therapy. I really mean that. The next is binaural beats. Now, binaural beats are beats that they use between the right and left hemisphere. So what this means is right side hemisphere, left side hemisphere. So I want you guys to look into, remember, you need to scan and check which of the apps and which ones of the programs meet your specific belief systems or that you feel comfortable with. Because you can use beat patterns between the right and left brain to get the brain into a holo sync, a synchronous wave pattern. There's no left and right differentiation. Basically, they're both sides of the brain are in one synchronous pattern. Now, they say that those individuals with that synchronous pattern are going to see the violet flame, the violet color, because different aspects of the rainbow basically are seen in parts of the brain. Do you ever close your eyes sometimes to see the color, like red, blue, and green? If you see violet, it means that your brain usually is in a holosync. It's actually communicating. Right brain is not jealous of the left, and left is not jealous of the right. They're actually communicating harmoniously. Now, binaural beats will use different types of patterns of frequencies in each ear through an app or through a CD. I don't know. But what it does is it will actually help you synchronize your left and right brain, because that will cause your relaxation centers to calm you down very much. You'll actually help heal your pineal gland, pituitary, your hypothalamus. You'll see it in research. I've experienced it. I've seen patients use it, and they really say, I've had concussions, doc. I've had brain trauma, and I've used this to actually help heal the mechanisms of the brain, even blood flow in the brain, neurological deterioration of the brain. They say that sound therapy has healed lymph flow of the brain. Not only have I seen it in the office, I have seen it work on individuals, and research is showing that it's even getting more prominent. So please, if you're at work and you're able to do it, and you're doing work on a computer, if you're able to do it and you're very anxious, very scared, or you just feel like you're uptight, use the binaural beats or check into it. I'm not saying everybody does a sound therapy like a tuning fork therapy, but I always find the most technical person I can that understands vibration and the mechanics of sound. And remember, do what's comfortable for you. Another one's gong baths. Gong baths have been used to where they'll use different types of, big gongs, just like you see like in the old Asian movies. My mom's Korean, and they would hit these big gongs and they make these huge sounds. Why? Because they would say they would use gongs to create a mood. Even in churches, they would have a gong, or they have a sound, or a chime, or a you remember like a sound chime, that they would actually emit a certain sound so it stimulates certain parts of the brain to get your body attuned to that frequency. So whatever you hear enough of, your body will try to match the frequency. It will tune in. So I hope that makes sense. But remember, what you tune in to will make changes in you. So you better make sure that you're tuning into the right things, to the healthy things, the vital things, the life-giving things, the good things. When you use like gong baths and stuff, if you get an uneasiness in your spirit, if you get an uneasiness in your heart listening to certain types of music, listening to a certain type of gong or anything, please check that and make sure you go with your gut instinct. If it's not good for your body, make sure that you look back, analyze it, say your prayers, do your due diligence, and see if those kinds of therapies are okay for you. But if they help you relax and you feel a general sense of peace and you feel like it's creating circulation in the body of chi and of blood, I would say those kind of therapies can be very, very healing and very, very advantageous to the body. I'm not saying you go out and buy a big gong or go buy a lot of chime singing bowls, but even if it's just like listening to binaural beats or listening to the chime bowls in, off Spotify or Apple Music, just find the ones that can release the healing chemicals in the body and release the peace-giving chemicals. It's made a big difference. I literally listen to different types of healing therapy music when I'm driving. A lot of people love to hear spiritual hymns. They love to hear spiritual music, spiritual songs from their religion that helps bring peace in their heart, because it's stimulating not only the vibrations of the body to heal, but it's healing parts of the brain through the mechanism we just talked about. There are so many good studies. There was the Journal of Evidence-Based Integrative Medicine, and it talks about how they used just Tibetan singing bowls and how it found that it actually created a reduction of depression, and it actually helped with huge benefits of healing the parts of the brain that were depressed. Try to find a therapist, a wellness center that really vibrates with you, really gels with you. You can look at the Academy of Sound Healing for practitioners in your area. That's another one. And I think it's really, really important that we don't negate this, because think about it. We can't read a book all the time, and we can't necessarily just stop in our day and just read a quick article. But a lot of us have the ability, like whether on a quick drive, if we're driving for work, if we're at an office, maybe we could have it low lying, or maybe we're at the office, we can have a music playing, but we can have the ability to allow sound to heal our bodies. So sound therapy, you don't have to use these particular, therapies, but if you look into it, you can use sound to help heal the body. There are certain devices out there, guys, that they are using sound at subsonic frequencies to actually heal the tissues of the body. Literally using sounds from a subsonic, you can't hear it, radio frequency generator to actually heal the tissue. That's why I'm always careful. I tell my patients, please don't listen to the wrong music that is unhealthy for the body. I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes that's listening to the podcast and say what you're listening to is wrong, but they have shown some different things. They've said like classical music has been very healing to the body. Different forms of classical music, very melodious songs, very good healing. Like we just said, like singing bowl songs, good hymns, religious songs of certain faiths. They said they've actually been very healing to the body. Whereas things that were very distorted, that had different notes that were just too edgy, Maybe like that one was some different death metal music was a little bit hard on some of the neurology of the patient. So that over experience of time could actually raise the aggression. Now, I'm not saying that for everybody. I think I need to do more research, but I'm just saying if you notice that there's an edge, an edginess from the music that's actually stimulating anger or stimulating too much aggression or just too much overstimulating of like sounds and it feels too edgy to you, like you're getting pricked, then I would step back and look at it and just say, hey, go into more of the music that actually creates a flow, a movement of chi, very soft like a winding river. That's my opinion. If you like death metal, that's all you. You know I love you. So, two of the things I really love that would help with sound therapy, two supplements I really, really think that help, is ashwagandha and bacopa. Ashwagandha and bacopa are two herbs that I've used alongside with sound therapy that actually helps to enhance the relaxation aspects of the body and the brain. It helps to heal many areas of the brain, such as the pineal and pituitary and hypothalamus portions of the brain, to allow it to be healing and cleaning and detoxifying, to allow the sound therapy to enter into the brain and actually stimulate the centers of the brain to actually bring about more peacefulness and calmness. Ashwagandha and bacopa. We'll put links here on the show notes from Supreme Nutrition Products. Now, I want to say, remember, the three things that sound therapy can do to help you is, remember, it can basically stimulate those touch receptors of the body to help reduce pain. It can improve your mood, help you feel happier, get you out of depression. It can actually relieve stress. It can actually help with anxiety. Those are three main things that it can do. And when you look at these types of sound therapy, remember, guys, there's tuning fork therapies, there's binaural sounds, there's singing bowl therapy, there is even chime therapy. And, there's music out there that you can find on different music platforms that are just so healing and nourishing to the human brain, the body, and the biofield. So don't underestimate what you're listening to and how it can actually help your body heal. We put on the right, healing salves and creams. That's for our touch. We have, the right supplements and herbs that helps. And oftentimes, we put on the great glasses, like here from, our Raw Optics right here. My buddy's Matt, and he's going to just send me the awesome things to help my body stimulate my parasympathetics. And we could put that on the notes as well. But I want you guys, these work so well. I'm just telling you, I don't want to neglect my eyes, and I just don't want to neglect what I hear. So when I drive home, I'm going to listen to this very relaxing music. I've had a pretty stressful day, so I want to make sure I just stimulate the right things in my brain. So I want you guys to check out these books and this research. So here's a couple. I want you to, What is a Sound Bath by sunread.com. Also, a demonstration from sound bath expert Sarah Oster. And there's a really great book called Healing the Body with Frequencies, The Basics Explained. And another one it's a YouTube explanation called The Science Behind Sound Therapy. So I want you guys to check these things out because they'll be on the show notes. And these are some things I want you to check into, because if you are resonating with this type of information, you know that if you've had times where you think, oh man, the sound of that person's voice or the sound of this is just really irritating me, start healing the sound centers of your brain. Start reprogramming in a positive way and using sound to actually help clean out the brain. Yes, you can. You can actually, even if you had a bad event, a bad trauma where you heard a certain note, you do need to work on those things. You need to work with therapy to help release those emotions. But I'm telling you, if you use sound therapy, you can actually start cleaning out the brain, and you can get the brain to attenuate, to attune to healing frequencies where it starts to pull out those old memories, putting them to the surface of the brain, where then they can be taken to the prefrontal cortex to be healed just by what you listen to. Sing positive songs, sing your spiritual songs, Remember, sound means a lot. All right, guys. I'm just so thankful that you guys joined me today. Thanks for spending time and learning about sound. And if you liked this kind of information, please subscribe. Remember to subscribe to the channel. And if you know anybody that needs some sound therapy, send this over to them. Remember to hit that bell to remember to listen to the episodes here in the future. And if you have any more comments, please send them my way. I want to hear about what you would like to hear on this podcast. I'm so thankful I'm be able to reach out with you guys today. All right. So until the next time, remember all the things we talked about are going to be on the show notes, and we're going to put out even more information out there. And check us out. If you want to watch the YouTube channel, go right ahead. If you want to listen to this twice. I hope you guys have a blessed night. Until the next time, I'll talk to you later. Have a good night.